My friends, success is often misunderstood. Many people believe it comes from shouting your achievements, displaying your progress, and seeking validation at every step. But the truth is, real winners move in silence. They don't need to broadcast their every move because their results speak louder than words. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. And those who understand this walk the path of true success. Many of us underestimate the power of silence. We live in a world where noise has become the background music of our lives. Notifications beep every second. Conversations flood our minds. Social media keeps shouting for our attention. And everywhere we turn, there's constant chatter. In the middle of this chaos, the greatest gift we can give ourselves is silence. Because in silence, we discover something that noise can never give us: inner strength. When we are constantly surrounded by voices, opinions, and distractions, we lose touch with our own voice. We forget to listen to the deepest part of ourselves, the part that holds clarity and wisdom. Silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of awareness. In silence, you don't escape the world, you connect with it more deeply. You connect with your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own spirit. Think about a lake. When the wind blows and the surface of the lake is disturbed, you cannot see your reflection clearly. But when the lake becomes still, it acts like a perfect mirror. Our mind is the same. When there is too much noise, arguments, comparisons, gossip, distractions, we cannot see ourselves clearly. But when we sit in silence, the turbulence settles. Our mind becomes calm, and then we can see our reflection with clarity. And from that clarity, strength arises. True winners know this secret. They know that their greatest battles are not fought outside, but inside. The inner battle of doubt, fear, and insecurity is the toughest one to win. And the only way to win it is through silence. When you allow yourself to pause, to breathe, and to listen inwardly, you gather courage that no amount of external encouragement can give. Silence also protects us from reacting unnecessarily. Many people waste their energy in arguments, debates, and conflicts. They lose strength by responding to every comment, every insult, every distraction. But those who embrace silence conserve their energy. Instead of reacting, they reflect. Instead of shouting back, they choose calm. And in that calmness, they build unshakable strength. Great leaders, thinkers, and visionaries understood this. They would often retreat into silence before making life-changing decisions. They knew that wisdom doesn't always come from speaking. It comes from listening, from observing, and from going within. Silence gives you the strength to act with wisdom rather than impulse. If you look at nature, silence is everywhere. The trees grow silently. The flowers bloom silently. The stars shine silently. And yet their presence is powerful. They don't need to make noise to show their worth. The same is true for us. We don't need to shout to prove our value. We need to grow in silence, and our presence will naturally speak for itself. So, silence is not weakness. It is not emptiness. It is not doing nothing. Silence is doing the most important work, building yourself from within, and when that inner strength is built, no external noise can shake you. That, my friends, is why silence is the foundation of true winners. One of the most exhausting habits we fall into is constantly explaining ourselves to others. We try so hard to make people understand our intentions, our choices, our dreams, our actions. And in doing so, we spend so much energy that could be used to actually move forward in life. Winners, however, know something very powerful. They don't waste time and energy justifying every single decision. They understand that explanations may satisfy others, but they do not build success. Action does. Think about it. If you are climbing a mountain and someone sitting at the bottom asks you why you're climbing, you can stop and spend hours explaining the beauty at the top, the fresh air, the view, the achievement. But as long as you stand there explaining, you are not moving upward. The winner doesn't waste that time. They keep climbing, and when they finally reach the top, the view itself becomes the answer. Silence then becomes the strongest explanation. Many people around us want us to justify our every step. Why are you studying this subject? Why did you choose this career? Why aren't you living like others? If you stop to answer all of these questions, you will never progress. Winners know that people may not understand their path because their path was not meant for everyone. It was meant for them. And instead of trying to make the world agree, they focus on proving it through results. There's a beautiful truth here. Those who explain less often achieve more. Why? Because their energy is not scattered in convincing others. Their energy is preserved and directed towards growth, towards execution, towards the real work that matters. You see, energy is like water. If you pour it everywhere trying to quench every small fire of doubt, you will soon run dry. But if you direct it toward one strong purpose, it becomes unstoppable. History shows us this again and again. Great inventors, thinkers, leaders, and visionaries were often questioned, mocked, and doubted. If they had wasted their lives explaining themselves, the world would not have seen their contributions. Instead, they kept quiet, they kept working, and one day their success became the loudest explanation. In fact, silence in the face of doubt becomes a form of strength. It communicates, I don't need to explain now. My work will explain later. On a personal level, imagine how peaceful life becomes when you don't feel the pressure to justify everything. You stop worrying about who approves, who criticizes, and who misunderstands. You begin to live freely. Winners carry this freedom in their hearts. They know that not every person deserves an explanation. Not every comment deserves a reply, and not every doubt deserves an answer. They choose wisely where to invest their words because they value their energy, and that is why winners appear calm. They don't get pulled into unnecessary debates. They don't argue over small opinions. They don't need the spotlight of attention. Their silence, backed by consistent effort, becomes the shield that protects their energy and the sword that cuts through all doubts. When results finally arrive, they become undeniable proof, and no explanation in the world could ever be more powerful than that. There is a saying we all know: actions speak louder than words. But winners understand this at a much deeper level. They know that actions don't just speak louder, they echo longer. Words may impress for a moment, but actions inspire for a lifetime. Anyone can say they will succeed, anyone can promise great things, but only those who act consistently make those promises come alive. Words are easy, they require little effort, no sacrifice, and no discipline. Anyone can say, I will achieve greatness, or I will change my life. But when it comes to putting in the hard work, waking up early, sacrificing comfort, staying disciplined, only a few actually walk that path. Winners are those few. They prefer the quiet power of doing over the empty noise of saying. Think of a farmer. He doesn't go around the village announcing, I will grow crops this year. He simply tills the soil, plants the seeds, waters the land, and patiently nurtures the field. Then one day, when the golden harvest covers the earth, the entire village sees the result without him saying a single word. The farmer's action became his voice. In the same way, winners cultivate their dreams silently, and their results speak for them when the time is right. Many people waste their energy proving themselves through speech. They defend their capabilities, boast about their plans, and try to convince others that they are destined for success. But words alone don't convince for long. The world grows tired of hearing promises without seeing results. On the other hand, actions cannot be ignored. When someone delivers results, even critics must acknowledge it. Silence backed with action becomes undeniable. There's a beautiful lesson in nature here as well. The sun doesn't announce, I am rising. It simply rises, and the whole world notices. A flower doesn't declare, I am blooming. It simply opens its petals, and people admire its beauty. A river doesn't shout, I am flowing. It simply flows, and in its flow, it nourishes life. Similarly, true winners don't shout about their journey. They move, they build, they grow, and the world witnesses their success without the need for noise. When you choose actions over words, you also choose humility. You stop caring about proving yourself constantly and start caring about progress. This humility protects you from arrogance and keeps you grounded. People may underestimate you at first, but when your actions unfold, they will have no choice but to respect you. Another important truth is that words fade, but actions remain. You might forget what someone said years ago, but you will never forget what they did for you. Words pass through the air, but actions leave footprints in the heart. Winners understand this power. They want their work to be remembered, not their speeches. They want their contribution to echo beyond their lifetime. So, when people ask, what makes winners different? The answer is simple. They act. They don't just talk about change, they live it. They don't just speak of discipline, they practice it. They don't just dream loudly, they work silently until the dream becomes reality. And when that reality stands tall, it makes a noise louder than any words could ever make. Every dream begins in the privacy of the heart. It starts as a small spark, a fragile idea that only you can feel. But the moment you speak it too early, that spark is exposed to winds that can either strengthen it or blow it out completely. This is why silence is such a powerful protector of vision. Winners understand that not every dream should be announced, not every goal should be revealed, and not every plan should be shared with the world. Sometimes the best way to honor a vision is to keep it sacred until it is strong enough to stand on its own. When you reveal your dreams too early, you invite opinions that may not always nurture you. Some people will criticize, some will laugh, and some will discourage, and some may even secretly hope you fail. Even if you are strong, these words can creep into your subconscious and weaken your confidence. Silence becomes a shield here. By keeping quiet, you give your vision the private space it needs to grow, free from negativity. Think about a seed. A farmer doesn't dig it up every day to show others that it is growing. If he did, the seed would never survive. Instead, he buries it deep in the soil, hidden, protected, nourished silently. And then, when the time is right, it breaks through the earth and rises into the light for everyone to see. Your vision is like that seed. If you expose it too early, it may never bloom. But if you protect it with silence, it grows strong underground until it is ready to flourish. Many people weaken their own vision by talking too much about it. They speak of their plans, their strategies, their goals, but they fail to put equal effort into action. Eventually, their words become louder than their progress. Winners avoid this trap. They know that silence not only protects vision from negativity, but also from the danger of complacency. Talking too much about what you will do creates a false sense of achievement. Acting silently, on the other hand, keeps you hungry and focused. History gives us countless examples. Many great leaders and innovators worked silently for years before revealing their vision to the world. They understood that when the time comes, the work itself will speak with greater authority than any speech or announcement. They knew that premature exposure of vision invites premature judgment. But when the vision matures and manifests, even critics cannot deny its power. There is also wisdom in understanding that not everyone around you will see what you see. Your vision was placed in your heart, not theirs. Expecting them to understand is like expecting someone to appreciate a painting that has not yet been painted. Silence, therefore, becomes an act of respect toward your own dream. You are saying to yourself, "This is mine, and I will guard it until it is strong enough to stand before the world." And so, silence is not hiding, it is protecting. Silence is not weakness. Silence is wisdom. Winners keep their vision safe from the storms of doubt, from the shadows of envy, and from the distraction of unnecessary noise. They allow their vision to grow privately. So when it finally emerges, it arrives with undeniable strength. That is why silence, more than words, is the guardian of every great dream. Patience is one of the rarest qualities in today's world. Everyone wants instant success, immediate recognition, and quick results. We live in a culture of speed, fast food, fast money, fast fame. But the truth is, nothing truly valuable is built overnight. Winners understand this secret. They know that silence is not just about staying quiet. It is about cultivating patience, and patience is the hidden strength that turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary success. When you remain silent, you resist the urge to demand quick validation. Silence teaches you to wait, to trust the process, and to believe that your hard work will bear fruit in its own time. Just as you cannot plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow, you cannot begin a journey and expect greatness instantly. Silence becomes the soil in which patience grows, and patience becomes the force that keeps you moving forward when results seem far away. Consider the bamboo tree. For years after planting, you see almost nothing above the ground. You water it, you nurture it, you protect it, and yet it seems as if nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, its roots are spreading deep and wide, preparing for massive growth. Then, in just a few weeks, it shoots up feet into the air, astonishing everyone who thought nothing was happening. That's how patience works. Your silent efforts may look invisible for a while, but deep inside, God, they are building the foundation for unstoppable growth. The problem with most people is not lack of talent, but lack of patience. They give up too soon. They speak too quickly about their frustrations. They expect results before the process is complete. Winners, however, embrace silence in these moments. Instead of complaining, they keep working. Instead of announcing their struggles, they endure quietly. This silence builds patience, and that patience becomes their strength. Think of a sculptor carving a statue. Blow after blow, chisel after chisel, he works on the stone. At first, no one understands what he is doing. It just looks like random strikes. But he keeps going silently, patiently, until one day the beautiful figure emerges. People then admire the masterpiece, forgetting the years of patient effort that went into it. The sculptor's silence, paired with patience, gave birth to something timeless. Silence also protects us from the frustration of comparison. When you are quiet, you are less distracted by what others are achieving faster than you. You stop rushing, you stop competing blindly, and you focus on your own pace. You realize that your journey is unique, and patience allows you to honor that uniqueness without forcing shortcuts. Winners know that impatience leads to mistakes, while patience leads to mastery. The loud ones often rush, stumble, and quit. The silent ones, guided by patience, endure the long nights, the slow progress, the unseen sacrifices. And when the world finally notices them, it seems like they became successful suddenly. But in truth, it was years of silent patience that made it possible. So, silence is not empty. It is filled with patience, and patience is not weakness. It is the strength to endure, to trust, and to wait for the right moment. Winners carry this strength quietly, knowing that time itself becomes their greatest ally. We often think that strength comes from speaking, from commanding, from expressing ourselves loudly. But winners understand something deeper. Real power lies not in how much you say, but in how well you listen. Listening is one of the most underrated skills in the world, yet it is one of the strongest weapons of success. Silence, when combined with listening, becomes a superpower that separates the wise from the ordinary. Most people listen only to reply, not to understand. They are already preparing their response before the other person has even finished speaking. But winners use silence differently. They listen fully, patiently, attentively, and in that silence, they gather information, they understand emotions, and they see opportunities that others completely miss. Listening is not passive, it is active. It is the art of being fully present in the moment, allowing wisdom to flow in. Consider the great teachers of history. They were not just masters of speaking, they were masters of listening. They paid attention to the smallest details, the unspoken words, the hidden feelings. Their silence was not emptiness, it was focus. And that focus gave them the ability to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. That is why their words carry so much weight. They were born from deep listening. Listening also builds trust. People are drawn to those who truly hear them. In a world full of noise, being heard is one of the greatest gifts. Winners know that silence makes others feel valued. When you listen without interrupting, without judgment, you give people the space to open up. And in that space, relationships grow stronger, teams work better, and opportunities unfold. There's also another secret. Listening allows you to learn from everyone. You don't have to be the one speaking all the time. When you are silent, you can learn from mentors, from peers, from critics, even from those younger or less experienced than you. Every person has something to teach, but only the silent listener will ever receive that wisdom. Ego blocks it, noise drowns it, but silence captures it. Think about nature. The river flows, the birds sing, the wind whispers. If you are always speaking, you miss these lessons. But if you sit silently and listen, nature itself becomes your teacher. Winners do the same with life. They listen to patterns, to people, to experiences, and they draw strength from them. Their silence becomes their education. Listening also prevents mistakes. Many people rush into action because they didn't listen fully to instructions, to feedback, or to warning signs. Winners, however, pause. They listen deeply before they move. And because of that, their actions are more precise, more effective, and more impactful. Perhaps the greatest beauty of listening is this: it makes you wise without making you loud. The quiet listener often knows more than the loud talker, because silence gathers knowledge while noise scatters it. And when the time finally comes to speak, the listener's words carry power because they are backed by understanding. So, listening is not weakness. It is not silence for the sake of silence. It is silence turned into strength. It is the quiet act of absorbing, understanding, and growing. Winners understand that at every time they choose to listen over speaking, they multiply their wisdom and strengthen their path. That is why listening, wrapped in silence, is truly a superpower. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievements, and silence is one of its strongest forms. Winners know that silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of control. To remain silent when you feel like speaking, to stay calm when provoked, to keep working when no one is watching. This is discipline in its purest form. Silence is not passive, it is active self-mastery. Most people fall into the trap of reaction. Someone insults them and immediately they reply. Someone doubts them and they rush to defend themselves. Someone provokes them and they cannot resist firing back. But winners choose silence in those moments. Not because they are weak, but because they are disciplined. They know that energy wasted in reaction could be better used in action. Silence is the discipline that keeps them focused on the goal rather than distracted by the noise. Think of an athlete training for a competition. The world outside may be full of distractions, friends calling to party, people doubting their abilities, critics questioning their choices. But the disciplined athlete remains silent. They do not explain themselves to everyone. They do not broadcast their every struggle. Instead, they quietly show up at practice every day, follow the routine, endure the pain, and keep moving forward. Their silence is their discipline, and when the results show, the world finally understands. Silence also disciplines the mind. When you practice silence, you learn to control impulses. You don't blurt out secrets in excitement. You don't make promises you cannot keep. And you don't reveal plans before they are ready. This restraint becomes a powerful force. Winners understand that words spoken in haste cannot be taken back, but silence leaves space for wisdom to grow. Discipline means holding back when speaking adds no value, and in silence is the training ground for that restraint. There is also a deeper beauty here. Silence keeps you consistent. Many people start strong but quit because they seek applause too early. They want recognition before the process is complete. But winners use silence as discipline to stay steady even when no one notices. They don't need external validation to keep going. Their discipline is internal, and silence keeps it intact. Look at nature for proof. The seasons change in silence, and the night turns into day without noise. Trees grow quietly, rivers flow steadily, and mountains stand firm without shouting. This silent discipline of nature creates balance and harmony. Winners model their lives in the same way. Calm, steady, disciplined, and consistent without needing constant noise or attention. Another important aspect is emotional discipline. Silence teaches you to pause before reacting in anger, fear, or pride. It gives you a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to choose a wiser response. Many people regret words spoken in heat, but silence saves winners from such regrets. God, their discipline allows them to respond with clarity instead of reacting with emotion. So silence is more than keeping your mouth shut. It is the art of mastering yourself. It is the discipline that protects your vision, preserves your energy, and keeps your focus sharp. Winners know that success is not built in moments of noise, but in years of silent, disciplined effort. That is why their silence is not weakness. It is strength under perfect control. Winners have a secret weapon that few people notice. They understand the power of surprise. In a world full of noise, announcements, and constant self-promotion, the most impactful moves are often the quiet ones. Those who rush to tell everyone about their plans may gain temporary attention, but they rarely leave a lasting impression. Winners, however, work silently, deliberately, and with focus, and when they reveal the results, the world is taken aback. That surprise is not accidental. It is the outcome of patient, silent effort. The element of surprise is rooted in consistent action. A silent worker may appear ordinary to those around them. People may underestimate them, question their abilities, or even doubt their potential. But in reality, every quiet effort, every small step, every disciplined moment is building toward a moment of revelation. And when that moment comes, the impact is profound because it is unexpected. The world cannot ignore results that appear out of nowhere, and that is the advantage of moving in silence. Consider a sculptor quietly working on a masterpiece in a hidden workshop. No one knows the hours spent carving, shaping, and polishing the stone. And people see only the outside world, unaware of the dedication behind it. Then, one day, the artist unveils the statue and the crowd is stunned. The work speaks louder than words ever could, and the element of surprise makes it unforgettable. Winners operate in the same way. Their quiet efforts eventually become undeniable achievements. Winners also understand that announcing too early can add unnecessary pressure, invite unnecessary pets, criticism, or sabotage. When you reveal your plans before they are ready, you expose yourself to doubt, judgment, and interference. Silence keeps your strategy safe until it is fully formed. When the world finally sees the results, they are not just impressed, they are astonished because the success appears effortless, though it was built through relentless silent effort. The power of surprise is also psychological. Humans naturally pay more attention to what they do not expect. A loud person may be noticed frequently, but after a while, their noise becomes background. Silence, paired with action, captures attention precisely because it breaks the pattern. The sudden arrival of results that seemed impossible is memorable, inspiring, and influential. Winners understand this and use it as a strategic advantage. History is full of examples of quiet achievers who surprised the world. Inventors, leaders, and innovators often worked in obscurity, facing skepticism and doubt. They didn't need constant recognition or validation, they needed focus. And when their work finally emerged, the world could only marvel. Their silence was not emptiness, it was preparation, strategy, and foresight. On a personal level, moving in silence allows you to avoid distractions and stay true to your path. When you are not constantly explaining yourself, defending your choices, or seeking attention, you conserve energy for what truly matters, progress. And progress, when revealed at the right time, creates a lasting impression. Winners know that it is far more powerful to act and then surprise than to talk and then deliver. So the lesson is clear: silence is a strategy for impact. It allows you to work, to grow, and to prepare in peace. And when the world finally sees the fruits of your labor, the effect is unforgettable. Winners don't announce their success, they reveal it. And in that revelation, they create awe, a respect and inspiration that lasts far longer than words ever could.